Happy Pride Month, everyone. Yeah, I know the month's almost over, but nobody told me before June that June was Pride Month, so like every major corporation, I've decided to cash in on this. But instead of just slapping a gay pride flag on my product, I will go over some LGBT firsts in US politics and give some info about them. Because what else am I gonna do? No segues, let's just get right into it. The first LGBT, specifically gay, people to be elected to office in the United States that we know of were Norman Jesse and Dan Johnson, both of whom were elected to the Iowa State House in 1967 as Democrats. While we know they're gay now, they were not out at the time of their election, even going so far as to live across the street from each other and barely seeing each other. Johnson was also known for serving as a lawyer on the Supreme Court case Tinker v. Des Moines. Click here for more info. They were partners for 35 years until Jesse's death, and Johnson also passed away in 2016. The first lesbian person to be elected to political office was Elaine Noble, who was elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives in 1975 as a Democrat. She was also the first openly gay person to be elected to political office, which didn't help her be treated nicely during the campaign. Her windows got shot in, her car got destroyed, her campaign headquarters had their windows broken, and she had her supporters suffer severe harassment. She served 2 terms and later served in the first LGBT delegation for the White House under the Carter administration, and even made an unsuccessful run for Senate in 1978. The first bisexual person to be elected to office that we know of was U.S. Representative from Connecticut, Stuart McKinney, who was elected in 1971 as a Republican. Much like Jesse and Johnson, he was not out during his tenure. He was actually outed in a very strange way. First, he died of AIDS on May 7th, 1987. Now you might say, oh, isn't that a bit offensive just to say, oh, just because someone died of AIDS, they had to be bisexual. They couldn't have got it through the injection or anything. My counterpoint is that in his will, he left his property to his gay lover, Arnold Denson, as opposed to his wife. However, later on in the vid, I may say something that might contradict this, but as far as we know, McKinney was the first bisexual person to be elected to U.S. office. The first transgender person to be elected to office was Althea Garrison, who was elected to Massachusetts House of Representatives in 1993 as a Republican. She was not open, and was outed in the worst way. Boston Herald reporter Eric Furstrom tracked down her birth certificate, asked her if she was a man, then wrote a story saying that she, quote, left questions about her past life unanswered. She suffered more transphobic remarks, like another conservative writer, Howie Carr, saying, I've always liked Althea. She has a big heart, not to mention big feet and very big hands. She was a one-term member of the state house, unfortunately. Later, she ended up becoming a perennial candidate and currently serves in the Boston City Council, succeeding Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. The first LGBT senator that we know of was Harris Wofford, who was elected in a 1991 special election to represent Pennsylvania as a Democrat. He was well known for trying to get universal health care during the 1990s and being the second choice for VP in 1992. He was a one-term senator, not due to his sexuality, because he didn't come out as bisexual until 2016. That's 2 years prior to the first open bisexual person to be elected to the Senate. No, he lost the old-fashioned way for Democrats to lose in the 1990s, the Republican Revolution. And I mean, it really sucks that he had to come out as bisexual in 2016 because he died 3 years later. He really only had 3 years that he could look at a person and say, this is my husband and I am proud to be in love and married to him. Happy Pride Month! The first LGBT governor of a U.S. state was Jim McGreevey, who was elected governor of New Jersey in 2002. While his tenure had accomplishments like implementing a stem cell research plan and signing the first domestic partnership law for same-sex couples, he was also plagued by plenty of scandals, the biggest one being on how he appointed Israeli consultant Golan Sipel to be his Homeland Security advisor, despite the fact that he had no prior experience. Why is that? Well, you see, they were having a little bit of fun on the side. Depending on who you ask, it was either harassment or a consensual affair. Either way, Chappelle threatened to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against him, which led to McGreevy to come out and announce that he would resign August 12th, 2004, which he did inevitably on November 15th of that year. Now you see, this is interesting because this is an actually debatable topic because we really don't 100% know who's the first LGBT presidential candidate. Some people say it's one guy, some people say it's another guy, some people aren't really sure what to believe, especially considering even now LGBT people have a hard time coming out because there could be a lot of repercussions. They could lose their house or whatever. So imagine back then where you could get freaking killed because of it. So historians have really narrowed it down to 3 possible options, the first being John Hospers of the Libertarian Party in 1972. He has been widely believed to be gay, albeit not openly. His family has constantly denied him being gay, but many libertarians choose to believe this to be the case. The one that has more consensus in this field is David McReynolds of the Socialist Party USA in 1980. He was openly gay, so there's really no dispute in regards to his sexuality, so even if he's not the first LGBT presidential candidate, at least he's the first open one. I'll go more in depth about him when I do a video about the Socialist Party USA. But the most disputed and the most interesting contender for the spot is someone that you might expect or not expect. It kind of comes completely out of left field. The 13th President of the United States, James Buchanan. James Buchanan was well known for being a bachelor, and historians have speculated as to why that is. And like a 12-year-old girl on Tumblr, it inevitably leads to gayness. Well, of course, there's a lot of historians that just say, no, he was just a bachelor because he couldn't meet someone as great as Anne Carolyn Coleman. A lot more historians have been saying, maybe he was gay, or at the very least bisexual, because of one simple thing. His relationship with brief Franklin Pierce VP William Rufus King. Many historians have raised their eyebrow to their relationship, and here are some reasons why. They lived in the same house for 10 years. They consistently made public appearances with each other. Andrew Jackson was known for calling King, quote, Miss Fancy. Prominent Democrat Aaron V. Brown called King Buchanan's better half, Buchanan's wife, and Aunt Fancy, a term meaning an effeminate man. His expulsion for the Lancaster Church was attributed to his dough-faced views that he did not have before his relationship with King. And, of course, there's actually some speculation into his asexuality, such as Buchanan being quoted as writing in his journal saying that he'd be okay marrying a woman if she'd accept his, quote, lack of ardent or romantic affection. And 3 out of 4 you just thought he was a bachelor. So anyways, let's move on to the last segment of this video. Now, as much as Pete Buttigieg's presidential campaign is gaining traction, mostly due to the fact that he's gay, he's not the first major party presidential candidate to be openly gay. That honor goes to senior consultant to Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, and George Bush Sr., Fred Karger. I may go more in depth on Karger's 2012 campaign in a video of its own, or lumped into the other 2012 Republicans video, but all you need to know is that out of all of the major 2016 Democratic candidates, he's definitely a Lawrence Lessig. Okay, so happy Pride Month to all my LGBT fans. Hope this video was a decent look at how far we've come to in regards to LGBT representation in politics. From 0 open LGBT people in any public office, now we have 2 senators, 2 governors, 8 representatives, and a major presidential candidate. Let's see where the cards fall on this one. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report.